Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So over this past weekend, we had two regionals that the first place decks were completely off the radar. No name, well, I wouldn't say no name decks, but just decks that people didn't really consider to be top tier meta. And wow, were we all surprised by these awesome decks that just, had great pilots and just completely took the meta by storm. They saw what was being played the most and they just developed an answer on their own for it and just took these decks in and then just cleaned up. So we're going to go in and take a look at these full deck profiles and just kind of see what was interesting about them and kind of what worked, kind of compare for that. One of them is a deck that I've already covered before on the channel. We're just going to kind of see how our ideas differed from one another. And then we're just going to take a look at the other deck and just kind of see what all strategies that they're just working with and just their overall thought process on the deck. Also, don't forget our memory markers for Patreon this month is going to be Gagmamon. We are pre-recording this simply because we are going out of town this weekend to NDK in Colorado. So if you're going to be there, definitely say hi if you see me. But these are just going to be kind of what we're going to go for our memory markers this month. We don't have a prototype out yet just because we're too busy in con crunch mode right now to get just a working sample for you guys. But hopefully next week I'll definitely have something. So if you want to check out the original deck coverage of these games, right here on the channel or right here on the screen, I've got the original channels that they aired on. Team Mighty Cool down there, our Australian partners, I guess. And then Eggman, he was the streamer that covered the TAC USA regional. So he's got the other deck profile over here. And they just kind of go through and kind of walk through just their numbers and everything like that and a little bit of what they're playing. If you want to go see those originals. But I'm just going to kind of break down the decks overall. So first up, we have Hexa Blauman. So I've already covered Hexa Blauman on the channel before. I thought it was a really cool deck, really powerful. And we're definitely in line on a lot of stuff we're playing. But some of the stuff is super, super spicy. And we're going to get to the end and kind of see what his whole thought process was on a lot of this stuff. So right off the bat, he's got Omnimon as his baby. Yes. So basically, their strategy was Hexa Blauman to stun, of course, and stall for time, and then build up and then do this crazy, bajillion swing Ult Force. Yeah, so Ult Force was the main go-to beater for the deck. That was their strategy, was Ult Force, and Hexa Blauman was to stall until they could go for the big Ult Force swing. So Omnimon here to give that 2000 DP buff, because in my deck profile I covered it before, but Ult Force, that 11,000 is small. So their plan was to kind of build up Ult Force to make him able to swing over things. Most of the megas in this game right now are 11,000 DP, so you need to at least be over 11,000 DP to hope you can survive on just an average security check. So Omnimon kind of helping get there, and then round things off, just the fifth egg here. Upamon is just probably the overall the best, but even they were Upamon wasn't really that major. They just rather see the Omnimon pretty much all the time. Next we got the Agamon, and this is just for reducing Digivolution cost. So if you've seen any of my deck profiles where I was running QDmon in my Lord Knightmon build, this does the same thing. They're just trying to stop the Imperialdramon deck, because going from their level 5 into their level 6 is reduced by 2, and having this on field stops that reduction, as well as against green, if you have Digisorption, it completely turns off Digisorption, which is absolutely huge, just being able to do that. Also things like Nokia, being able to reduce Greymon Evos and things like that, so just shuts those down. He's just playing the one of, just for a little bit of stall, and I guess that's okay. I think I personally might want to run 2, but that could just be me. I mean, they got first, so clearly they know, it worked for them. Next, they got Legmon. It's just a 2-cost hard drop. I noticed they didn't really max out on any of these guys. So all their rookies are at 3 or less. So nothing was maxed out, which is kind of a big surprise for me on the Into here. Next, they got the Gomon that gain 1 memory, just because you never know when this could come up. You know, if they want to kill something, typically what they were saying was if they go like a Nightmon to minus 4K and then a Slash on top of that for another 8K, that typically that would probably kill whatever they were going to target, but then they could still extend even further. And with the Gomamon here, if they ever slashed, it usually meant that they passed their turn. So the Gomamon was kind of just a counter in a way to stuff like that. If you want to kill my stuff, you're gonna suffer for it. Next, we got the Balukomon as well as the Gomamon, just for the inheritables here. It works with the whole archetype of Hexa Blauman. So, of course, you're going to run both. They got the Coelamon here, as well as Gorillamon as their 1-cost Evos. They said they were just trying to really just ramp up as fast as possible into, you know, their Megas and that sort of thing, just to... They weren't really trying to stall with the blocker. It was mostly for the 1-cost Evo, just kind of like what I say in a lot of my videos. It's a 1-cost Evo that just happens to be a blocker on the side. So it's basically just like Gorillamon, but it's got blocker. 5,000 DP, though, is kind of not the best. As we've seen a lot more. And then, of course, you got to run the Pilgrimon as just it works with the whole combo of trashing the Digivolution sources. You know, it combos great with your rookies down here, as well as it works into some of your tamers that we'll go over when we get to the end. And then round things off, just the one Lobomon, because Lobomon on top of a tamer is just like a solid way to win a game. You know, you never know even if they're going to play it. So in a Hexa Blauman deck, they probably didn't even see the Lobomon coming, which is pretty awesome. So you should go Lobomon, swing for game when they least expect it. So that's cool. As a one-of, sure. They were saying that the deck drew really well, and he had pretty good draw power. We'll cover that as well, why it's so amazing at drawing. Next, we've got the Chris Pilgrimon. Just makes sense. It works with the deck. Gives, you know, the security attack +1 really easily. And when Digivolving, again, works with your rookies here and just works with the overall strategy of Hexa Blauman. All right, this next one is where I differed from them. So they went with the promo Wergarurumon, which has, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you get the security attack +1. In my build, I went with the Wergarurumon that was the exact same as Chris Pilgrimon here. Just, you know, if you have no Digivolution cards. But again, whenever I built Hexa Blauman, I was just like zeroing in on Hexa Blauman only. Like, that was my main focus. Where in this, Hexa Blauman is sure like a pretty main focus, but their real main focus is just being able to get some crazy awesome power hits in with Ulforce. So they went with something that was a little more consistent, as well as, like I said, they have insane draw power in this deck, and so getting 8 cards in their hand actually was really easy. So that's why they went with the promo Wergarurumon, which makes perfect sense when when you bring the whole deck together and see what they're working with. Next, of course, for the 4 Hexa Blauman, I mean, the deck is overall a Hexa Blauman deck. So, of course, you're going to have 4 of it, just being able to shut down your whole opponent's field, as well as, which I went against a Hexa Blauman Imperialdramon combination deck, and that was nasty. I had 3 blockers at one point out, and they went into Hexa Blauman and were able to win just because all 3 of my blockers all instantly got turned off, and they just pounded for game at that point. I couldn't stop anything. It was like I was 1 turn away from winning, and then all my blockers got turned off, and that they immediately won because of it. So Hexa Blauman is very, very powerful. But Ulforce here, we've seen Ulforce before. I mean, he's not new. He's been out for quite a while. Your turn, when one of your blue Digimon tamers becomes suspended, unsuspend this Digimon. And that's what really is making this whole thing really come together, is because you can trigger this effect over and over. It's not once per turn like the second effect is, which, you know, you gain 1 memory. Okay, that's cool. You're probably doing something already, so it's not too big a deal. But yeah, so it's all about the multiple swings. Kind of just like Imperial. The thing that makes Imperial decks really nice is you get just like a ton of swings. I mean, you can get 4 swings with the combo super easily with Imperial. So that's kind of what the Ulforce is doing here. But Imperial, like, that's really it. It's got that one crazy strategy that it can do really quickly. It requires basically hardly any setup at all. But this has the stun factor of Hexa Blauman to go with it. So kind of like when you think about green OTK, how it kind of has like Nidhogg and things like that. It has some control elements. That's kind of what we're seeing here. It's got some control elements that slow down your opponent until you can get into your big crazy super hit. Next we got Davis, just as a memory fixer, as well as, just kind of search the card you need when you need it. Wasn't only at a 1-of, so it wasn't too much of a craziness. Next, we're going to kind of get into like the real like crazy meat and potatoes of it. So they matched out on the 4-of Soar and Joe, which I definitely get. Whenever I built mine, I went for 3, and I felt like 4 could have evenly fit. Easily fit. Wow, and I can words. So just the gain 2 memory is really, really easy with this. So the more you get of these guys on the field, just the more and more value you're going to get. If you get all 4 out, you start your turn with 8 memory. It's crazy. So if they want to ever hard play a blocker to pass their turn to protect themselves, they're going to suffer for it. Things like that. As well as you can just trash their opponent's Digivolution sources to make these cards live. It's really easy. But the real kicker, and I think the reason that they played 4 was the secondary effect. Your turn, when you attack with a blue Digimon, you may suspend this tamer to trash up to 2 Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. That right there, that's crazy. So you just continuously, you just suspend 1 at a time. Normally, sure, you could suspend all 4 at once if you wanted to like just clear out 4... or I guess 8 Digivolution sources if need be. But if you do it 1 at a time, every time you swing, you can keep unsuspending the Ulforce, right? So you can keep swinging. Swing once, just suspend 1 Sora and Joe, unsuspend. Swing again, suspend another one. It just keeps going back and forth. So you just do 1 at a time to keep unsuspending the Ulforce. And that's how you're getting these crazy powerful hits. So with 4 Sora and Joe, you can potentially just OTK your opponent if need be. And that's absolutely wild. But if you have him on top of one of these level 5s, you're checking 2 security at once. So you don't even need all 4 here. You only need, what is that, 3 or 2, something like that. Let's see, 1 swing for 2, another swing. That's going to be your first Joe. So again, that second swing, and then spin again. So yeah, 3. Or if you have the Omnimon, that's even less of these guys. So 2 Sora and Joe and an Omnimon with the Ulforce on one of these, that's game right there. So very, very good. Definitely makes sense why they just capitalized on these and didn't really worry about a lot of the other ones. Next, we got the Omnimons, just because, it closes out games for you, just that last swing that you need. Very good stuff. And then Mad Dog Fire, what a spicy card. 1 cost to play, one of your Digimon gets 3,000 DP for the turn. This card's been so overlooked. This card, look at this. This is 10 cents. This card is 10 cents. So plus 3,000 DP, 1 cost Evo. So looking back over at Ulforce, give that to Ulforce, he's at 14k. Give him the baby, the Wanyamon, that's 16k. So their thought process was, yeah, Mad Dog Fire is really great, gets me at 14k, and allows to swing for some, solid hits. It swings over Nidhoggmon. It swings over pretty much every Mega in the game, just about. The only thing they ever worried about was the Omnimon, and that's why they went with the Wanyamon egg, you will never have to worry about hitting into any Digimon in this entire game in security. You will always clear them. So that's what Ulforce was sitting there doing, was with that combo, you could swing over everything with the security attack +1 and a couple tamers. You're just doing massive, massive damage. Next, they got Takumi. So they're one of the few decks that are actually using Takumi. And this is what I was talking about, the draw factor, is every time you Digivolve, you can suspend him and get an extra draw. As well, when you think about it, this is kind of a pseudo way to trigger your Ult Force if you need to. So you could swing with the Ult Force and then Digivolve something and then suspend this guy, and your Ult Force will actually unsuspend. So kind of a neat combo. It works with the deck. Sure, you need to draw into your important pieces, and that's what Takumi's for. But also kind of just on the side, being able to help with your like go win strategy. That's a great combination, and super rare that you can get that kind of interaction like that. As well as, again, all level 3 Digimon when attacking lose 1 memory. So with Rookie Rush being just so predominant in the meta like it is, I mean, it's like half the played decks is Rookie Rush. Having multiple Takumis on field, he said that, he'd like to go into multiple Takumis in every game, and just really hard countered. -2 memory, it's a lot. So, yeah, the Takumis there really shutting down the Rookie Rush players, and that was another kind of a meta call that they made. So that was really, really good. Takumi is kind of hard to work into a deck. I mean, when Takumi got announced, we're like, oh, Rookie Rush is dead. It's gone. And but then no one played Takumi. So Rookie Rush, everyone that played Rookie Rush was like, well, as long as no one's playing Takumi, then yeah, we're going to play Rookie Rush. Lilith Loop is just not being played enough to worry about. So, and even a lot of the Lilith Loop players are going with the Matt and Tai anyways, and very little are going for Takumi, maybe 1 copy at most. So having just multiples in a deck, yeah, out of nowhere, yeah, that's going to hurt. And then the Hammer Sparks, you always got to work in a little bit of Hammer Spark if you're playing a blue deck for sure. So that was really cool deck overall. I definitely see how it won. It was a great meta counter. Like I said, the stuff that beats Lord Nightmon is really fast decks, like Imperialdramon, Rookie Rush. Those decks are a hard counter to Lord Knight. Hexa Blauman with this Ult Force, I mean, you can go for a whole lot of swings really fast, and then Hexa Blauman basically turning off everything that whenever you Lord Nightmon effect, you're not getting any sort of, you can't Bushi and Rush or anything like that. If you go and gets your Lord Nightmon or your Nightmon out, you got to Digivolve to get any kind of value off of it. Even whenever like I said, whenever I played Lord Knight, turned off all my blockers is super brutal. So great stall tactic with a very fast, very powerful, crazy hitting card. So really cool deck. Glad to see, just some innovativeness kind of taking over and winning. But speaking of innovativeness, this next deck is... This is just completely out of nowhere. We've talked about Hexa Blauman. Like, people know Hexa Blauman. It's a deck. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's not crazy popular, but, it is a deck that people kind of expect to see every once in a while. No one expected to see this next deck. It is a black deck. Just, that's all you need to know. It's a black deck, and it got first place at a regional. What the crap? So that is awesome. Just jumping in here, looking at the babies here, we're just doubling up on the Kapurimon. We got the 1.0 one, as well as the starter deck one that just anything with blocker gets the 1000 DP. They said that they were just trying to get ways to get that kind of little bit of buff, because it was really easy to give blocker out to things. So having that 1000 DP buff, they said that was really important. Next, they've got their 2 cost drops. The only reason they played the Commandramon, I thought it was kind of funny, is because they had a holo version. So it was like a promo or like a tournament one or something like that, and it was holo instead of just playing the 3 Herguromon. So I thought that was kind of funny. Next, we got the Suna Zeramon. This is the promo one, which gives security attack +1, so that 13,000 DP. This is one of the things that I was saying. They kind of wanted a little bit of DP buff because they wanted to trigger stuff like this, so the security attack +1, as well as just having it sit on field gave piercing if you needed it. So it's just really great generic universal card. Pretty cool stuff. Next, we got one of the best rookies in black, and that's Toy Agamon with Reboot. Just because you can swing into security with whatever your main piece is, your mega, and then it's suspended, and you pass to your opponent's turn, and then they get to just run it over with whatever, a Lord Nightmon that's jacked up to 15,000 because of their big massive field. So going to with that Reboot and unsuspending it, the only way to clear it is like some sort of removal, like an option card or yellow in its DP reduction, things like that. So Toy Agumon really nice, just reboot to everything. Also, they play a ton of blockers, so just being able to swing it through blockers and then have them reboot so that they can then block on the follow-up turn, very good. Then we got the starter deck, Toy Agamon. End of opponent's turn, if your opponent didn't attack with a Digimon this turn, trigger, draw 1. And they said that because they played so many blockers that they were always having to pass turn without ever getting to attack with something, just because all the blockers basically prevented them from getting any kind of successful attacks. So they're constantly getting the Toy Agumon draw effect. And as an inheritable, you can just go right on top of him with a blocker, so you're already ready to go. And they said this was their idea was kind of like a turbo deck, so they really like to go into their megas as quick as possible, as well as their Omnimons. So they played a lot of these one-cost Evos. So they got the Tankmon here as a one-cost Evo, as well as the new Dark Tyrannomon from the starter deck. Same concept. It's a one-cost Evo level 4. It just happens to be a blocker also. So if you need to block, you have that option to do so. Then they got the Sealsdramon here, which is Black's just their 2-cost Evo 6000 DP blocker. The same thing that pretty much all other colors have had forever. They finally got theirs. So lots of blockers, and then even up into the level 5s here, we got the War Manzemon or Waru Manzemon, because 2-cost Evo, again, just being memory efficient, taking it back to an old strategy of just memory efficient Evos to get into an Omnimon. We're just doing it in black finally. Next up is a little bit more of like overall strategy, though, where things start to kind of come together. We got Gagmamon, and this one is main Digiburst 1. Okay, so it's not once per turn. You can do this as much as you want, as long as you've got the materials. And one of your Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for the end of your opponent's next turn. So you could Digiburst a baby, a rookie, and a level 4 to give something plus 6,000 if you really needed to, or just 2 and give it plus 4,000. So this right here is going to help trigger stuff like Suna Zeramon for that 13,000 DP threshold. So you Digiburst 1, and all your megas are now at the threshold that you needed, as well as the inheritable, another plus 1,000. Combine that with your egg here, and again, boom, you're now in the threshold to start triggering stuff like Suna Zeramon. And as well as just punching over anything, punching over a huge Lord Nightmon, or punching into security against maybe security control or something like that, where they have lots of big things. So Gagmamon, really cool. Next up we got Megadramon, though, and Megadramon, oh my goodness, if you saw the Edamon deck profile that we did in the match, yeah, Megadramon, so I forget about it. It just gives blocker innately to anything. So just as an inheritable, so that's going to be great with stuff like with Reboot here, or just anything with blocker. So your Kapurimons here are now live to anything that's Digivolved on top of them. So yeah, very, very powerful, just giving blocker to all this stuff that we're about to go over. First, we got the High Andromon, just the vanilla 2-cost 12,000 DP. You can get away with something that's a vanilla for a level 6 when you have this stack of really good inheritables. I mean, just all of these are really nice and work really great. So you just turn him into a blocker with Reboot, and you're good to go, with that 12,000, as well as maybe, some DP on top of that. Yeah, he's just a beast. Next, though, man, this is awesome. I'm so glad someone got this card to work, because it's felt incredibly powerful. So it's got Reboot innately, so that's just really good. So you can swing into security, and again, unsuspend, and they can't just swing over you. Retaliation, or just with a big beater, whatever. But it's when Digivolving effect. This is a very good. It's a 3-cost to Evo level 6, super standard, 11,000 DP, right on the money. When Digivolving, Digiburst 2, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. That is all the level 4s, level 3s, so you're clearing blockers out of your way, so you can now swing. If you're going against Rookie Rush, you're pretty much taking everything off the table that might be working for them for Rookie Rush. Very, very good stuff. So it has uses against pretty much every single deck in the meta with that alone. However, security control, the only thing that this actually works for, I think, is just no, it could be. I could be even wrong about that. I was gonna say Magna Angemon, but I think he's a 7-play cost. So he's just 6,000 DP. So it doesn't work on that. However, we still have another sentence to read here. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So it even counters security control just straight up. Just trash the top card of security. Doesn't activate it or anything. So that right there is incredible. And again, you can just delete that first sentence, and that second part is still phenomenal. You can just digivolve into this, either clear something that's in your way, out of your way, and if there isn't a target, clear a security for free. What is not to love? This card is incredible. It's in an awkward color. Black has been just in an awkward place that no one's wanted to mess with it. But I guarantee if this card was like in yellow or something like that, absolutely, people would be playing this. This is a just incredible card. You can put it in any deck, and it would be just amazing. Next, we got Zwart Defeat. So Defeat is in here, which I thought was kind of a surprise. It just kind of caught me off guard. So, of course, we know that you hit it in security, you get to play it for free. But they were actually saying that they really like digivolving with it. Like, sure, it was cool when it got hit in security, but they typically would just straight up digivolve into it. So the digivolve effect to delete a tamer, tons of decks are running tamers right now. So it's actually a pretty solid counter to that. I mean, you hit TK in Lord Nightmon and clear him off the field, that sets them back considerably. Like, they depend on their TK, that memory fixer. So clearing that is really good, just the on Digivolve. And he's a 3 evolution cost, so he's not terribly big. As long as you got a memory fixer on field, you can go into him and still swing. And then the on deletion effect, if they ever do clear him, then they get punished for it. So they're like, he's basically kind of got retaliation built in if need be, or even you could if you block with him, because you give him blocker with the Megadramon, you could block one swing that kills him and then delete something else. So if they're going to like swing for game with 2 Digimon, right, you block the first one that intentionally kills him, and then you could block, or then you can blow something else up. Things like that. He worked really great for them in the deck just by actually digivolving into him for just this cheap 3 Evo plate or 3 Evo cost. It's a very, very good number for sure. All right, and our last little bit here, X Antibody. So a lot of people just kind of gloss over the fact that his first ability here is your Digimon with Omnimon in its name can digivolve into this card in your hand for a memory cost of 3, ignoring this card's Digivolution requirements. So it just completely ignores this whole thing, and now you can go on top of the defeat for 3 Evo. So again, he was like, yeah, I would just Digivolve right on top of defeat for more draw power and things like that. It was only a 3 Evo cost, so again, with a memory fixer, it wasn't a big deal. And then you just start swinging. So this 15,000 DP, again, if you have any other kind of buffs on top of that, for DP buffs, then they said that they were just completely untouchable. Besides like security control with stuff like Gaia Force, that was the only thing that could really take care of this card, because stuff like Transcendent Sword can't touch it, because at most it's not clearing it at 15,000 DP, and with the DP buffs and things like that, so it couldn't even clear it. That's really awesome. And then just continuously attacking turn after turn. They said once X Antibody hit the field against like decks like Rookie Rush, it was over, because they just could clear every, just turn after turn clear Digimon before it ever even got a swing. And so that's really awesome. Nice little tech card. We will come back to him in just a second about something else though. Ultimate Flare, great counter to Rookie Rush. When I played Security Control, you'll see the match next week, and Ultimate Flare against Rookie Rush is brutal. Just delete all your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Wow, okay. And then you also get a D-Digivolve 3. So if they have like a level 4 out that they've Digivolved into, you D-Digivolve that first, so now it's a level 3. And then you just clear the whole field afterwards. So yeah, Ultimate Flare is really good. They were saying that their hardest matchup was against Rookie Rush, and that if they drew Ultimate Flare, they would win. If they didn't draw Ultimate Flare, they would lose. Next up, we got Izzy. They said that they really loved Izzy. That the being able to fix your memory is of course really nice because there's lots of 3 Evo cost things in this deck, but also just the on play being able to stack the deck. They said stacking the deck was probably like the most fundamental, like important thing that they could do, just so they could always get set up for the exact card they needed on the following turn. Also, it's kind of like a flex on your opponent that they know what your next card is going to be. So if they're like, oh crap, he's about to draw into an ultimate flare. Okay, I don't need to go wide with my rookie rush because he's about to blow me up. And then they're going to waste a whole turn not digivolving or not playing rookies. And that's really good. Just really playing those mind games there. So looking at the deck, they said it performed exactly how they had hoped it would. It was really good. They said the only change that they thought they might make is maybe drop the X antibody down to 1 and the ultimate flare up to 3. They just said that ultimate flare was so good and so important that if you didn't draw it against certain matchups that you would lose. And so they really wish they had the ultimate flare up to 3 and the X antibody probably down to 1, because you only have 4 targets, the defeats, to actually digivolve him onto. So if you never actually get a defeat on field, which it could be kind of difficult, if you want to go level up all the way into a level 7, you have to wait again another turn before you can go into the X antibody. So having 2 of, it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup to go. This is almost like a level 8 if you want to think about it like that. A level 8 in this deck. And that's a long, like, strenuous digivolving turn after turn after turn to get to this point. So having 2 copies, I could definitely see how that could hold you back a little bit. So yeah, very cool deck. I really actually kind of want to play this. It looks like a very fun deck. It looks like I played Hexa Blauman, but I haven't played this, and this looks like a lot of fun. I need to get my hands on some more defeats, though. They're just a little out of my price range for needing a full play set whenever I've got other decks that I haven't even got to play IRL yet. But yeah, this is definitely on my radar of, this looks like a lot of fun, and clearly it had a pretty good matchup against the meta, so that's very awesome. So congrats to both of those guys for just taking the meta by storm and just showing it to everybody. That's absolutely awesome. So congrats. Hopefully, we see more innovative ideas like this, and that's what I'm hoping for the most out of all this, is that people see that you don't have to play whatever digitubers are saying are the best decks just because we say, we think this is going to be the best and this is going to be the best. If you can get a really original idea and it does really well countering what everyone else is playing and you can win consistently, then awesome. Go and win a big tournament. Put your name on the map. Let us all see, the great accomplishment of just going outside the box, because that is a real accomplishment. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. Just a little bit of help goes a super long ways. It helps the channel out tremendously, gets my videos out there, gets them seen. And if you really, really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link for my Patreon, which is displayed right here. You can get access to my Discord server that I have, as well as you can get the memory markers that we've had. These are just a few of my favorites from the past that we've had. The current one, Impmon's baby, as well as Gabumon's baby as well. Sunomon and Yamon. These guys are super adorable. I definitely love them so much. And every month a new one changes out, so make sure you check that out. As well as we have our new playmats. This is why I recreated this video. It's because our playmats are here finally, and they are super cool. I alternate between the black and white every single month for whoever wants to support this tier, as well as I have a tier just higher than that, so that way you don't also have to lose out on a memory marker. You can get both the memory marker and the playmat just in case you want both. Super awesome support from everyone that has supported in the past and who will support in the future. You guys are awesome. Also, if you want to check out my merch, my Teespring link is in the description below for that. We've got, the shirts that I wear on the channel that has the logo across. I love when I see people representing my merch in public. It is like one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. Very, very awesome. As well as phone cases for you people that love Digimon like so much like I do. A friend of mine custom made all these to fit these specific phone cases themselves. So the prices are a little bit higher just because I have to pay her back, as well as make a little tiny bit of profit because of how much, unfortunately, they take for their cut for Teespring. But like I said, if you can't do any of that, please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every time we hit a new mile marker for subscriptions, I give out free merch of all different types. 2000K, I think we're doing one of the Playmat giveaways. So definitely be subscribed and ready for when that comes.